I got locked up for 6 months. And back then it was called a mental ward because they thought that smoking pot was psychological or physical. I can't remember one or the other.
Oh, that's crazy.
So they locked me up because I was a first-time offender. And that's when I was doing all steroids, but I smoked to go to bed, Mo, because when you do steroids, man, I'm telling you, you're up all night. Like, you can't sleep when you're blowed up.
Yeah.
Can't breathe, can't sleep. Like, you know, sleep's a treasured thing if you can get 4 good hours sleep at the time. So I got caught and they sent me away. And during this 6 months, man, the doctor would come in every Tuesday and Thursday night. Dr. Jones, never forget, Duke Meyer Ward, Duke on the 3rd floor of Meyer Ward. And I got Tuesday and Thursday. So when I came out of all that, got into bouncing and stuff, that's why I was always so wanting to do steroids, wanting to be a big guy, wanting to be able to fight, because I swore when I left that place, no man would ever put his hands on me again, ever touch me again.
Right.
So that kind of led to, I'm not gonna say a wounded person, but a very defensive person. If you hurt me, buddy, I'm telling you, man or woman, I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna find a way. You can't hit a woman, I know that. You can't shake a woman, I know that. But let one come up and do something to me that's like really nasty, dirty, you know. And so I went through my life living that mentality. At the time now I wasn't saved. Just please keep that in mind. That was way pre-saved days.
Right.
And I am saved. I'm a Christian, so life is totally different now. I fight with my mind and my mouth. But I married this girl and we had a little kid, and then I had to go on a hunting trip. So I asked my best friend, I said, hey man, can you stay at the house? She's got a bachelorette party. Take her to the bachelorette party, bring her home. I just had a bad feeling the whole 2 days, like something ain't right. So I go home and we talk. She's like, no, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. Well, she pops up pregnant. And I can't remember what happened, but about the 7th or 8th month, she was real pregnant. One of my other buddies come to me and said, man, I can't. I got to tell you the truth. Joey slept with your wife while you were out of town. I'm like, dude, what? And again, man, I'm telling you, I was that crazy dude. So at the time I was living with my brother. I had a room, he had a room, we had our own house. So Joey, we rented him an apartment in the back. So I went and picked my wife up, took her over to where I was staying at the time because we were arguing. And I basically set her down and set him down. And I asked him, put them back to back. And I said, hey, Joey, did you sleep with my wife? He said, no, I didn't sleep with your wife. I said, all right. Looked at Chris, said, you sleep with my wife? Did you sleep with Joey? He said, no, I didn't sleep with Joey. I said, all right. I pulled a 9mm out, put a bullet in Joey's mouth and put it in there and pulled the hammer back. And I was going to kill him right then because I knew he was lying.
Yeah.
And he said, I did it, you know, mumbling on the thing, man. And the only thing that kept me from going to prison the rest of my life was the baby in that belly. So I made a decision right then that whether it's mine or it's not mine, it's mine. Don't care. That's my baby. Baby shouldn't suffer. So now I'm really wounded. And I just buried myself in work. And I told her, I said, when the baby's born, I'm leaving. You know, but I'll pay all the bills. I'm not going to screw the baby. I don't care about you, like literally. I mean, I don't care if somebody throws you up under a train. I will not come help you.
Yeah.
So I went to working, like, seriously, man, I'm working 16, 17, 18 hours a day. Because the only thing I know to do when I'm upset is to pour myself into my job, because that's my sanctity, that's my sanity. And there was this little girl, man, every night about 2 or 3, I'd stop up on Capitol Boulevard, man, at a little place up there, little breakfast place, and I'd always get a cup of coffee. And there was this little redheaded girl in there, man, and she'd always bring me my coffee. And I just thought she was the cutest little thing, but I'm wounded, like I'm hurt, man. I ain't interested in no women, but we just got to talking, hanging out, whatnot. So then, you know, I bring my brother around her. He's like, man, that girl's hot. I'm gonna take her out. Now my brother's always the one with money. I'm always the country boy. He's got his little Corvette, you know, a little prissy boy, a little Tom Cruise looking fella. So then I got another friend. I don't know if I told you about him, but he was, back in 2002, he won 4th strongest man in the world. He was 6'6", 385 pounds.
Okay.
Had 26-inch biceps, 56-inch chest, man. Biggest guy you ever met, big baby. But the man was bigger than any NFL lineman you've ever seen. I mean, I'm telling you, Johnny Perry, you can look him up, Johnny Wade Perry. So I took Johnny up there. He worked with me some nights. I took Johnny up there, and Johnny's like, boy, that's one good-looking girl. I'm going to take her out. I'm like, no, you ain't. Like, y'all, what's up with y'all, man? So now it's a competition between me, my brother, and my best friend on who's going to take this pretty redheaded girl out.
Right.
And so Johnny goes in there with all the bravado. He's showing up 2 or 3 times a day. Jason's riding by in his Corvette, leaving, you know, $20, $30 tips. Here's old broke Ronnie riding around in a truck, you know, a tow truck that ain't got nothing to offer nobody, Bo. And I'd stop in, and one night I finally said, look, you want to go out? She's like, I've been waiting for 3 weeks for you to ask me. So I went and picked her up on our first date and picked her up in a rollback. Left her driveway, hit a deer.
High class.
Hit a deer, bro.
No.
Threw the deer on the bed and winched it down. She said, what are you doing? I said, we're going to cancel this date and we're going to clean this deer. I wasted it like, I ain't got no money. And she started laughing. She said, I told my mom I would never date a country boy or redneck. I said, well, you lied.
She went to the extreme.
Bruh. I took that deer home, skinned it out. She stood there. We talked about 4 hours that night, man. Next thing you know, she was just the one. But it was the fact that Amy don't take no crap, man. Like, I'm wounded, and I'm like, if I bowed up at her and got loud, bro, she's 110 pounds or nothing but Tasmanian devil. She get loud back.
Yeah.
Nobody would push her around because she grew up without a dad and learned to defend herself. And so, we bring her into the fold, man. And the day my kid come home from the hospital, I officially start dating her because I wouldn't kiss her nothing until then. I ain't saying I'm a good person, but I'm a respectable person. And so we bring her into fold, Bo, and I'm gonna tell you, man, it's the life we had pre-saved. Why that woman stuck around, buddy, I will never know.
Yeah,
I will never know. But we started bringing her in, and she was an aerobics instructor. She was working 3 jobs to put herself through college. She worked at daycare here in Wake Forest, seminary back when they had that. She was a waitress, and then she did some book work for a guy at his firm. But I mean, literally, this girl's going to college full time and working, 45, 50 hours a week. 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, Bo, and getting up going to class at 8 o'clock. So, she was impressive.
Yeah, driven.
I mean, she was impressive, Bo. She had a business mind, and I'm going to tell you, if I'd have listened to her on investments over the last 20 years, I would never be working right now. I learned a lot in the last 20 years on investments, and we'll talk about that, but man, she was just so motivated. And she was an aerobics instructor, so we brought her in the gym, and Johnny's training for a strongman. I'm still doing my thing, and I'm benching at the time a little over 600 pounds. I'm doing bench contests. The other 2 guys with us, we had a Leslie powerlifting club. One of them was deadlifting close to 700, which back then 810 was the world record.
Right.
We just had a great powerlifting club, man. That's all we did was powerlift. So she come in one day doing her little aerobic stuff, and I was making fun of her. I'm like, why don't you get over here with the men, or why don't you get over with the boys? She's like, all right, cool. So we put her on her squat rack. Now keep in mind, I'm not kidding. This girl weighs 115, 120 pounds tops.
Right.
So we put her on her squat rack. I'm like, all right, give her the bar, let her warm up. She warms up. So we put 225s on there, and 95 pounds, 105 of collars. And I'm like, all right, just give that a shot. See if you can do 10. She got a 6 and racked it. I said, what are you doing? She said, if I'm going to squat that, I don't need to waste my time. I said, what? I said, you kidding, right? She said, no, that's like paper. I said, no, ain't no way. I said, all right. So we slapped some more weight on there. We get up to 185. I said, all right, now, Butch, go ahead. That's the first time I ever caught a Butch, and it stuck after this day. She gets on there, pop, 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 hits 5, racks it. She was like, not heavy enough. I said, what? I said, what? No, I'm checking weights. Johnny's checking weights. Johnny said, rack 225 on there. He walks over there and curls it, Bo, just to be cocky. I've got to warm up with this. Racks it back for her, man. She gets under 225, Bo, and knocks that mug out for 10.
What?
Never squatted in her life, and I mean 10 of the most perfect. I was just falling off the floor, Bo. I'm like, you can't teach that. Like, that kind of natural strength and that kind of position and style, you can't take. Now, don't get me wrong. She was a little girl but had legs this big around. And she just has natural quads and calves. And we were just blown away. So we're like, hey, why don't you start lifting with us? And she's like, why? I'm like, I'm not trying to be funny, but if you let me train you, I think I can get you a state title. She's laughing. It's like, no, you can't. I said, sugar, in your weight class right now, and at this time she's under 23, right? So it's juniors division. I said, the state title is only 280. You just hit 225 and 10 in my gym.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. So we train, and we start training hard. And the more we train, man, the more I just see crazy stuff. So I start calling some of my buddies. You probably never heard of them, but I had some buddies at Westside Barbell. I had some buddies up in Maryland. I had some buddies that were national champion powerlifters, 2 or 3 world champions that we knew from the circuit, especially as a strongman.
Right.
I said, hey, man, I want to bring this little girl I'm dating by. I want you to check out her form, see what you can teach her. So, hey, man, they taught her how to bench with her back arc, keeping her butt on the bench. Like, they told her all the techniques that we would do, but it's hard to teach somebody when you will.
Yep.
And so we held out, man, and we held out for her first show. We did one local show, and she went in there and just obliterated every state record in her class. I mean, just blew them out the water. And I'm like, yeah, we ain't lifting again until nationals. So we go to a qualifier for nationals, and we hold back. And at the qualifier, she beat every lift that she had done at the little meet, but only by a little bit, because I was like, man, we can't. If this gets out, it's gonna be some serious competition at nationals. So we get to nationals, and she sets the open world record in her weight division. And she's up to about 140 then.
Wow.
And she leaves national, goes to worlds, and sets 24 state, national, and world records.
Jeez.
In her first
show.
First worlds, bro.
That's crazy.
And I mean, clean, like, man, she hit, she weighed in we're in the 148 class. She was weighing 143, 144 when she stepped off scale. The first thing I do is hand her a can of Campbell's soup for the sodium and a bottle of water. Because we diet down hard, because we don't want to get over 148 for the lift, but we have 24 hours to put as much weight on as we can, but not nasty weight. So we do a lot of sodium, a lot of water intake. So by the lifting day, she's probably 147. And she squatted, we're using kilo plates, she squatted 551 at 22 years old and 147 pounds. Wow. She benched 355 and she deadlifted 400. 22 years old.
That's crazy.
I was sold. I was like, this is
this is it.
Dream girl right here. You know, this is my
love.
Yeah. And then life just got really hectic because of what we did. She come into business with me, and you know, there's a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting in the business we're in. And that's why I loved her, man. She never backed down, but she never backed down from me. And that was a big thing because I was still wounded at the time. So, you know, I would get ultra aggressive, really verbally nasty. And she didn't back down. This girl squats 500 pounds. She don't care.
She won't back down, but she had your back, too.
Oh, yeah, always, brother. We've always had the same mindset. She just gets mad when I don't listen to her. And I should have listened to her many times, but, you know, she got tougher and tougher. Then she ended up becoming a MMA fighter. And then she ended up becoming a licensed mortician. And I'm like, it's getting worse and worse. Like, wow, man. Not to mention, in all honesty, and I think I told you this, but her grandma's 100% Cherokee.
Right.
Her daddy came on a boat from Ireland. So I got a redheaded Irish Cherokee Indian that can fight, bury you, and is a world champion powerlifter. I'm like, man, what did I do? I look back in life, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, whoa, bro, you know, but she, we had so many crazy stories. Like I said, she shouldn't have stuck around. She got mad at me one night, and I'm standing in the middle of the driveway. She's like, I'm leaving, get out the way. I'm like, you ain't leaving. She's like, I'm leaving. You got to the count of 3. 1, and hits the gas. Oh, I fly up on the hood. She's doing 35 miles an hour, hangs a right, slings me 80 yards across the field. I'm literally at 80 yards. I'm rolling. She don't even let off the gas. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get her. That's it. So I run back and jump in my truck, go down the road another way and catch her. And she's coming around the back of Bojangles trying to hide. And I hit her head on. About 15 miles an hour. Smack! You know, I'm mad now, having road rage. I jump out. I'm like, you ain't leaving till we talk. And we're right in front of Bojangles' boat, and she's got a window cracked about that far. She said, I ain't getting out. And I punched right through the window. I'm like, we gonna talk face to face. She's like, I ain't getting out. I'm like, we gonna talk. And next thing I know, these 2 dudes come from Bojangles, man. And they're like, what's up? And I'm like, nah, sell on them casts. Wow. Well, I had reached in and took her key out. I was being smart. Yeah, I'm not that smart.
You thought so.
Because while I'm fighting these dudes, she gets out, gets in my vehicle, and leaves again. And now I can't find the key that I took out the ignition. And I'm like, uh-oh. Now here come the cops. I'm stuck there with no key, you know. So we had so many stories like that. And I always ask her, I said, why'd you stick around? She said, God told me I had to. And she's honest about it. She was a Christian. She said, God told me I had to. I'm like, man, I don't know how you listen to God at that time. And now I understand it, but I was like, I don't know why you stick around for my crap, you know?
Yeah.
It was, but there's like 100 stories like that, no lie. Like, man, I got in a fight one night, and no lie, I turned around, and there was a guy standing between us that was a good buddy of ours, but he was a little intoxicated. He swung at me, hit me. So I elbowed him in the face, and he falls on her. So she jumps up, and when she jumps up, I'm trying to hit him, and she's trying to cross. Pop! Caught him right in the back of the head. I'm like, and I mean, I just froze. I'm like, oh, you know, because I know, I'm like, oh my gosh. Next thing I know, Bo, I'm literally looking up from one knee. I can't, there ain't been 3 men in my life that hit me that hard. Dude, she caught me right under the jaw. My mama was there, and I went down a knee, and I was buckling, and I'm like, who hit me? And they're like, Amy? And I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing nothing about that. Yeah, fight's over, y'all. We all going home. But like she did.
And all this is only funny because of where it's ended.
Where it ended all, man. Yeah.
So I just want to be clear about that.
She laughs about it, I laugh about it, but we're open about it because it's a great part of our testimony, our ministry, that she listened to God to stick around. Now keep in mind, I didn't beat her or nothing, okay? I got loud, I cussed, but I never beat her. I wasn't a beater. But any other woman in her case would have walked away, I'm telling you. That nobody would have stayed with me. And all that was just that anger built up from, and it's no excuse, but the anger built up from your wife cheating on you and, you know, all that. But she took my kids and raised them like her own. They called her Mamie. You would have never known that weren't her youngins, ever. And then, you know, we got our own youngins, but she doesn't treat them no different, man. She is a wonderful mama. She's a wonderful lady. She's a wonderful woman of God. But, you know, it's those stories that build us. But in the business we're in, the repo business, she had to have that backbone. And in looking back, I think God just allowed her to suffer through some of that to build her backbone and build her. Because I'm telling you, in the office, you don't mess with that woman.
Right.
She will sell on you. You call her the wrong word, she's coming from behind the glass. She don't even care about I'm serious. She don't care about the glass. And she does it with a righteous indignity, like, you know, but you put your hands on her. If you ever saw any fight on the show, they were pretty much all real.
Yeah.
She was welling guys, just welling them. And I was like, you know, and I mean, she got one fight on camera when she was 7 months pregnant. And I'm like, have you lost your mind? She's like, no, he ain't touching me. What do you say? I mean, that's the lady that I helped build. So, but that same backbone of all the funny, mean stories and whatnot is the same backbone. And again, looking back, that when I got saved, we were living together and we had a big fight. And it stemmed off where she punched me. And she was walking down the hall one night. And I'll tell you one thing about my wife. Now, I'm not kidding, Bo. If she tells you she's done, buddy, you might as well take it to the bank, cash it in. As good as gold. Good as that gold. Good as real gold. She's done, brother. If she tells you she's done with you, she's done with you. I don't business, personal. She's done. There's no coming back.
Right.
She'll give you a second and third chance, but when she's done, bro, you just went to the slaughterhouse. You got nailed. It's over.